Hello Media Suite executive team, and thank you for your time today. I'm excited to present some key insights today on how we can strategically position Media Suite to enable ourselves to reach the top of our game and navigate current challenges we face. I believe the first place to start is understanding the three vital macroeconomic indicators: gross domestic product, inflation, and unemployment, and how they help us interpret the business cycle. So, what is GDP? GDP is the total market value of all goods and services produced within a country over a period of time. Essentially, it's a snapshot of economic health. A rising GDP indicates economic expansion, which often means higher consumer spending and business investment. These are all positive signals in regards to our digital media service. Next, inflation. Inflation measures the rate at which general price levels rise. Moderate inflation is normal, but high inflation erodes purchasing power, affecting both consumer demand and our input costs. Alternatively, deflation might signal weak demand and could lead to lower revenues. Lastly, unemployment. Unemployment shows the proportion of the labour force actively seeking work but unable to find it. High unemployment often coincides with reduced consumer spending. This is something that would directly impact media consumption patterns and our advertising clients' budgets. Now, if we look at this business cycle, which includes periods of expansion, peak, recession, trough, and recovery, these indicators become powerful tools. For example, falling GDP and rising unemployment typically points to recession. During such times, Media Suite may need to adjust budgets or diversify revenue streams. Contrarily, expansion phases signal growth opportunities, where we can invest in things like innovation or talent acquisition. Understanding these macroeconomic indicators helps us anticipate shifts in demand, pricing strategies, and workforce planning, all important factors that can make or break a business. These indicators allow us to act proactively, giving us opportunities to align our business strategies with broader economic conditions to stay competitive and resilient. Recently, with the election of President Trump in the United States, the issue of tariffs have received a lot of attention. You may be thinking, how is this affecting businesses? This can be explained through simple ADAS graphs. From the perspective of the Australian economy, when tariffs are imposed on imported goods, it increases the cost of inputs for many Australian businesses. This causes the Australian economy's aggregate demand, AD, to decrease to AD2 as exports are reduced. These tariffs also cause the short-run aggregate supply to shift leftwards from SRAS1 to SRAS2. This is because higher production costs reduce the overall quantity of goods and services that firms are willing to supply at each price level. As a result of this shift, real GDP decreases from Y1 to Y2 because the economy is now producing less due to those high costs. At the same time, the price level rises to P2, leading to cost-push inflation, where prices go up even though output goes down. This creates the new E2 equilibrium point, with higher prices and lower output, which is a concern for both households and businesses. Now, if we look at the ADAS model for American economy after the imposed tariffs, we can see it is quite similar to Australia's model, except the US has a stable aggregate demand and a larger shift in the short-run aggregate supply. Their AD doesn't change, as Trump's tariffs were designed to protect and boost US industries, meaning domestic production was stimulated. The SRAS2 curve in the US shifts further left because the US is the one imposing these broad tariffs, especially on things like raw materials. These are key inputs used across many US industries, so these tariffs caused a widespread increase in production cost. In contrast, Australia was mostly a target of tariffs, meaning while the tariffs still hurt specific export sectors, they didn't raise input costs across the whole economy. Beyond the immediate effects of the US tariffs on Australian exports, wider global tensions pose a critical challenge for the Australian business landscape, and for Media Suite in particular. Escalating tariffs between major economies like the US and China can slow global trade, reduce investment confidence, and heighten economic uncertainty. This is because tariffs cause businesses to face higher costs and unpredictable market access, as firms can't reliably plan for the future supply chains, prices, or profits, leading to delays in hiring, spending, and expansion decisions. For a creative media firm like Media Suite, this means disrupted international partnerships, potential budget tightenings from clients, and rising technology and equipment costs, especially if imports become restricted or more expensive. Additionally, unpredictable trade conditions may prompt multinational clients to reassess advertising and content spending, directly affecting our revenue streams. Now, let's talk about a puzzle we all know too well. Why do people choose unhealthy food even when they want to eat better? Traditional economics assumes we're all perfectly rational decision makers, aka Homo economicus, where we all are making choices to maximize utility with full information, but reality says otherwise. This is where behavioral economics comes in. It recognizes that humans are imperfect, emotional, and and often inconsistent. Unlike traditional economic assumptions, behavioral economics factors in psychology biases, habits, and social influences, meaning it acknowledges these inconsistencies of humans rather than going off traditional answers. For example, status quo bias. This means people tend to stick to familiar routines like grabbing fast food because it requires less mental effort than making a change. Even if a person wants to eat healthier, they might default to their usual takeaway option out of habit. The framing effect also plays a role in behavioral economics. A healthy meal framed as low calorie may be appealing, but if framed as bland or unsatisfying, it's more likely to be rejected. How options are presented can significantly influence decision making. Another factor is time inconsistency. We as humans often place greater value on immediate rewards, like a tasty burger, than on long benefits like improved health. This helps explain why good intentions don't often translate into healthy behavior. So next time someone picks some hot chips over a salad, it's not necessarily irrational. It's human. Understanding these biases matter for Media Suite because applying behavioral economics, we can design content that subtly nudges audiences towards better choices without limiting their freedom. Artificial intelligence is advancing at a rapid pace and changing how we work. A major sector within businesses that is affected is labor, as AI are slowly taking over many different job elements. Yet, skilled labor such as doctors and lawyers and unskilled labor such as cashiers and construction workers are affected differently. As seen in this labor market diagram, AI increases skilled labor wages from P1 to P2. This is because AI complements high-skilled jobs by enhancing productivity, leading to skilled workers becoming more valuable. AI also increases skilled labor quantity from Q1 to Q2 as new roles emerge such as AI ethic officers and data specialists. This means more skilled workers are needed. These rises in wages and labor creates a new equilibrium point, E2. Now, looking at this labor market diagram regarding unskilled labor in AI, we can see the opposite. AI decreases unskilled labor wages from P1 to P2, as AI and automation can replace routine tasks, such as administration and data entry, reducing the need to hire. AI also decreases labor quantity from Q1 to Q2. This is due to some jobs disappearing entirely from automation. These drops in wages and labor create the new equilibrium point, E2. Now, as artificial intelligence continues to reshape the workforce, one of its most pressing implications is the likely increase in wage inequality. AI tends to complement high-skilled jobs, as seen before from the previous diagrams. These individuals benefit from high wages as their expertise not only complements AI, but often essential in designing, managing, or interpreting it. In contrast, AI replaces many low-skill routine tasks. This results in job displacements, reducing demand and wage stagnation in lower-income segments of the labor force. The growing gap between these two groups means we're likely to see a polarized labor market, where high-skilled workers thrive while others are left behind unless they upskill or transition to new roles. This divergence drives a widening wage gap. For Media Suite, these trends reinforce the importance of investing in digital upskilling and create innovation to remain competitive in a polarizing labor market. In closing, it's clear that the environment we operate in, economically, politically, and technologically, is shifting rapidly. By understanding key macroeconomic trends, navigating global trade tension, applying behavioral insights, and adapting to AI-driven labor changes, Media Suite is better positioned to respond with agility and purpose. These insights aren't just theoretical. They inform smarter strategy, stronger client outcomes, and long-term resilience. Thank you all for your time, and I look forward to working together as we shape Media Suite's future in this dynamic business landscape.